So welcome everybody to our Esports 101 webinar, just to get you guys all acclimated to what esports is and how to get a program started. In the chat, before we do a deep dive, if you could please just introduce yourself, where you're from, and something that you're hoping to take away from today's session, and make sure that your chat is set to everyone. While you are doing all of that, just a few housekeeping items. We have our Q&A system in Zoom to pose questions and upvote any questions that you may want to have asked. We will be trying to answer questions as we go throughout the webinar, so please utilize that resource. We will answer them live as well as answer them in the chat if we can. Use the chat for any of your ideas or comments. And of course, today's session is going to be recorded, and the slide deck will be provided and the recording will be provided to you probably in the next 48 hours following the webinar. So the big question is, who is MHSEL? Many people may know us from the MASSP League or the Student Leadership League. Our main companies that the three of us, Ryan and Meg on here, work for are MASSP and MASC MAHS. So the league is hosted by these two organizations. Our platform partner, which Rachel is on here with, is Play Versus. So you might hear of us as the Play Versus League, but that is really the platform that is utilized for the league, and the league itself is the Michigan High School Esports League. We have an advisory board of about 13 to 14 individuals that meet to really help guide what the league's purpose is. So as you can see, we have created a mission and vision statement with them regarding to have a safe, competitive, and curricular environment for student athletes to build various critical skill sets, explore different career paths, and contribute to their school's culture within esports. And we provide, our goal is to be the elite high school and middle school esports league. So we provide esports for 6th through 12th grades. Just a quick breakdown, our league hosts 2 seasons every year, both spring and fall. We're coming up on our fall season to kick off the school year. And we have 3 different leagues that are available to compete for free. As you can see, there are listed there on the slide: high school, middle school, and Special Olympics Unified. We will dig deeper into all 3 of these throughout the webinar. There are various game titles within each league that are available for the students to compete in. High school is competitive for 2 seasons a year, so both fall and spring. Middle school is scholastic in the fall to give them time to build up their program, build those skill sets, and then in the spring it is competitive. And then our Special Olympics Unified, which is very unique, has both middle and high school divisions within that league with 2 different game titles, and they are competitive. So back when we started in the fall of 2020, we had 24 schools with 34 teams. We have now grown exponentially. And as you can see, these are just a couple spring quick facts from our last season. We've expanded from 3 game titles to 15 game titles, from 24 schools to over 200, and from 34 teams to over 800. We are now reaching close to 4,000 students throughout the state of Michigan. So we've grown exponentially. Students are able to compete from Detroit all the way up to the UP against each other without having to drive. It's really unique to be able to play people from very far distances as well. And I believe the next slide, I'm handing it over to my colleague, Ryan Casey here.
All right, thanks, Maggie. So we have a video here, and I just realized I don't know if the background music will play here or not, and that's okay because I can kind of talk us through. So this video is a highlight of our championship event from Oakland University this last spring for our 2025 season. Um, as I play the video, I just want you to notice a couple things. See kind of the engagement or the interaction of the students. I'd like you to see, what are the students? How are they reacting? How are they responding? What do you notice about them? What do you notice about the coaches or their teammates? What do you notice about the parents or their peers or the spectators that are at that event as well? And so we've been to Michigan State University, we've been to Oakland University, we've been to Western Michigan University over the years, and it's just a really cool event that we put on towards the end of each season where the top teams come from a selection of usually it's our most popular games, if you will. They had the most amount of teams playing them. And the kids get to battle it out and get recognized with trophies and medals and banners, just like we would celebrate the quarterback and the football team at your school, right? We get a chance to kind of honor those with this esports and competitive video game skill set. So I'm going to play that. I might not play the whole thing, but can you hear the volume or no? Okay, that's okay. So again, this is from May 10th. So Oakland has a great area for this competitive gaming space. We get to be creative with where we have kids compete on screen so parents and others can watch. We really appreciate being on a college campus as well because I just think it's a really powerful opportunity to have students be able to think about post-secondary opportunities, right? And so we had middle schools competing for the first time at this event. We featured a new game, Fortnite, which is brand new and really popular for us. And on the video, you're going to see kind of the list of some of the different schools that were there playing different games. This is a really cool aspect. You'll see the kids kind of shaking hands, and for a lot of kids, they learn about being a good sport and accepting defeat and being gracious when they win. From little t-ball and little soccer when they're little, right? A lot of these kids haven't participated in any sort of traditional sport before, so we're teaching them the skills of saying "good game," "good luck," looking someone in the eye, shaking a hand. We also do awards, which we'll talk about a little later. So we get to honor like all league, all state player of the year, coach of the year. We get pretty excited at these events, as you can tell. So, really cool event. It's fun to let parents see their kids shine in this light too, because this is played not typically right in an arena or on a field where there's parents or spectators watching normally. When they just play your weekly matches, you're in a room or your esports lab, whatever it might be, playing. So they don't really get to get the opportunity to have others watch them. So it really is cool to watch parents see their child excel in something like this for the first time. And so it's a really great idea, a great day. Every year we get a kid who chokes up and gets a little emotional because it's the first time they've ever gotten a medal for anything in their life before. We get people that show up just to watch the event. They will literally sit there for 6, 7 hours just watching different esports matches. These kids wouldn't be caught dead going to a basketball or a football game on a Friday night, but they'll come and travel 45 minutes, an hour to sit and watch kids play competitive video games all day. And so hopefully, in that video, you saw the excitement, you see the popularity, you see why it's such a popular thing and why we've seen these numbers explode as Maggie showed us over the last 5 years. So I'm gonna turn it over now to Rachel Murray, who's kind of our main point of contact here, as our state partner from Play Versus. She's gonna kind of walk through just how Play Versus helps us deliver esports to make it super easy for coaches, for schools, for students to be involved. I'll probably jump in a little bit with Rachel as we talk about the seasons and how they are broken down, about some of the games, some of the equipment. Otherwise, I will stop talking and It is all yours, Rachel.
Awesome. Thanks, everyone. Thanks for joining. One thing I wanted to say about that spring championship that was so fun is we had a handful of college coaches that were there watching as well and taking notes and recruiting. And they were even watching the middle schoolers, which was so exciting for those middle school teachers and parents to see that their students were being looked at by college coaches. It was so cool. But I'll jump in. What is Play Versus? We are the platform partner of the league. We are a safe space for high schools and middle schools to compete in esports. So we take on kind of the logistic aspect of running an esports league where Ryan, Maggie, and Meg, they do, and then the advisory board for MHSEL, they set the rules, they choose the titles, and they really get to run kind of the leadership aspect of the league. Play Versus is a partner, and we take on the scheduling, the matchmaking, the roster management, and we just make that part a little bit easier for coaches and schools as well. So, when I'm talking to a new coach and a new school that's wanting to get their esports up and running, I start with the big three. This is what you need. This is your bare bones to get started. You need students that are interested. That's usually the easiest part. You need a coach. Now, this coach just needs to be an adult who can be an after school supervisor, does not need to have gaming experience whatsoever. I would actually say the majority of our coaches across the country do not have gaming experience. They just see the benefits for their students. They want to help out, and we help them through that. So no gaming experience needed, but you need a coach. And then you need your equipment and your IT approval. The equipment's going to vary based on the titles that your students are interested in or that you have, at your fingertips. And so we'll kind of walk you through that. But the big three, once you have those kind of lined up, or at least two out of the big three, we can help you get started with the next steps. Awesome. The games, those different game titles that we talked about. We have a variety, I think up to 14, 15 that are available for your schools. There's no cost to compete with Play Versus. And so as long as you've got the space and you've got the equipment, you can have as many teams as you want. So that means unlimited students as well. So you can see some titles are going to be high school only titles, and then some are also going to be available for the middle school. So you can see there Fortnite, Marvel Rivals, Street Fighter, Valorant. Those are our high school only titles. And don't worry if you have no idea what any of these titles are or you've never heard of them. We've got resources that breaks down kind of the gist of what is this game? What are they playing? And then you can see our shared titles more with the middle school. They might be a little bit more recognizable. Some of those Nintendo titles like Mario Kart or Smash Brothers, very, very popular titles. We've also got Madden, Rocket League, chess, and our newest title is Pokemon Unite. So a wide variety, it can appeal to a wide variety of students as well. But I would say on the whole, our Nintendo titles tend to be the most popular.
And one thing I'm going to point out here too, we'll talk about a little later, is because of our partnership with Play Versus, we do have like the official partnerships with all of these game publishers. And so it's not really like copyright, but I know that's just an easy way from the school perspective to think about it, right? Is so like you do need permission to be able to run leagues and have championships and tournaments when playing these games. And so I know there's others that are out there and there's other leagues that play and they're just kind of taking a chance or a risk because, and we've seen it happen over the years where a publisher will come and say, hey, and they shut folks down or say you can't do this or do that anymore. We don't ever have to worry about that because of those official partnerships and that Play Versus has established with all these game providers. And for some of them, it comes with some extra bonuses with some unlock codes to be able to get all the characters or the deluxe character package and some other things. So that's just an important part of all these games that we do offer.
Ryan, we did have a question in the chat that if people aren't looking at the chat, it would be good to note is if high school and middle school games can be interchanged. It does look like Rachel did make note all the middle school games are available for high school too. Yes. So I know that slide might be slightly confusing, but the middle school games are only allowed for middle school, but all of the games listed on that slide are available for high school.
And to point out too, middle school, we typically run as 6 through 8. High school is 9-12. However, for some of the smaller schools, or if you're a starting program, an eighth grader who is 13 or older can jump up and play on the high school team. So I know for some small, like I live in a rural area. I was a principal at some smaller schools. That's probably something I would have had to look into in order to maybe fill out some teams. So 6 through 8 is middle school, 9 through 12 is high school. Eighth graders who are 13 or older can jump over and play on the high school team.
Awesome. We have all of our titles broken down by day of the week. So each title is assigned a day, and 4 p.m. local time is when those matches start. And so you can see our breakdown. Monday through Thursday is game day. You do not have to play every single title by any means. As you're setting up your program, something to consider is availability of, facilities and coach. So if you've only got a coach who's available Tuesdays and Thursdays, just offer the titles that are available Tuesdays and Thursdays. Some schools set it up that way. Other schools ask their students, hey, what titles are we wanting to play? And then that's how they kind of base when students are going to be there after school competing. So we try to space it out so that if you're using equipment, it makes the most sense. We try to space out the most popular games so that you can utilize all of your equipment as needed. But this is going to be the schedule for high school this fall.
And this is a newer schedule. We've typically run Tuesday through Thursday only over the last 5 years, but it was a lot easier to do when we only had 3 or 4 games spread across 3 days. As we've creeped up to 14 and 15 games, we had to add in this extra day here. So just a little bit of just advice as you're trying to figure this out. I know this can kind of be overwhelming. You're not going to jump in as a first-time esports program and go, oh, we're doing all 14 games, right? That would just be impossible. You have to think about the capacity of the equipment you have. And we have a slide that talks about what each of these games require in just a moment. But you can start with a handful of games, kind of base it on your coach's availability. Or if you have a couple of coaches that are going to tag team this and pick different days of the week, typically you are going to want to have a practice day that you will use to literally practice, work on strategy, set up like online scrimmages with others. And so you can do that any day of the week. It used to be Monday before we started filling in games, but that can be any day of the week. So just think about that too as you think about the schedule. It's really important, when you unveil this to your kids or you survey your kids, and we have a Google form survey you can use, you're going to have a bunch of kids say, yes, I want to do this. I want to play this game and that game and this game. And you'll find out as it becomes a competitive league that they're going to really want to hone in on one game, probably maybe 2 at the most. But it's important to let them know this is not a drop-in social club necessarily. Like if you want to run it like that, that's fine. Or maybe that's an aspect of this esports program you want to run. But it's important for them to know, like, hey, Susie, you're on Smash. You have to be here after school every Wednesday. Right? And then Monday's your practice day. Or Tuesday, you're going to be here for practice. Wednesday is your match day. And so it's not like, just drop in and play with your friends when you want. It's like, no, you're part of a team. Just like volleyball has practice and game schedules, we have practice and game schedules. And because that'll probably take that initial number of 25 kids wanting to do esport, it might take it down to like, oh, now I've only got 12 to 15 that once they realize that. So just something to think about.
In our middle school platform or middle school titles, we are still running that Tuesday through Thursday schedule just because there's fewer titles. And so you can see there, we split up the different Nintendo titles across each of the days so that you can use your equipment wisely and be able to share equipment across the days. For our Michigan leagues, we have a 3:30 start time for that middle school league. So just a little bit of a difference there, knowing that the middle schoolers get out a little bit earlier too. So that does help. So 3:30 start time for the middle schoolers, 4 p.m. start time for the high schoolers.
And most will, I know we're starting to see more and more schools start earlier or get out earlier. So typically what we see for those of you who get out at a 2:30 or a 2:20 or 2:40, they're going to, go to their location where they're going to play. They're going to get logged in or set up. They're going to practice for a while. Maybe they're going to eat a snack. Maybe you do a team kind of warm up activity thing. It's not uncommon to see kids walk the halls or do a lap outside or do some stretching. I know it sounds crazy, but it does happen, just to get them in the right mindset. So that is why we kind of have those times built the way they are right now.
Awesome. And now we've got all of our game information, our equipment information. So the equipment needed is going to depend on what game you're playing. And of course, every single game is slightly different, and every single title also has different requirements for the team size. And so that's something to consider as you're building out your teams and as you see what students are interested in what. It's interesting, you just have to kind of play around and see where students can plug in based on the titles. So I will say the most inclusive or like easiest to implement titles, if you have zero equipment at all, you only have Chromebooks or phones or tablets, is going to be Chess and Pokemon Unite. Those two titles can be played on any device that has internet. And then I would say the next easiest to implement is going to be those Nintendo Switch titles. With Super Smash Brothers, that is a team of 3 players and it only needs one Nintendo Switch they share. So we can help guide you through this if you're like so lost and you need help kind of deciding what equipment you're going to need for what titles. We can help you out with this because it is a lot of information. But we also have titles that can use PCs, and that does not mean a Chromebook. That means a bulked up PC, typically found in like a CAD lab or maybe a business computer lab. We've got the specs all written out for you if you click on these different titles. And then other consoles are available too. So PS5 and Xbox, those can be options as well for different titles. So I see a question, what's the best way to get feedback on equipment needs? I would say directly, let's have a conversation with either Ryan or myself, and we can go from there. And you can give me the number of students you have, the games that they want to play, and I will tell you exactly what you need from there. But if you click on any of these titles, once you get these slides, it is linked with everything that is needed, including those specs and such. So we'll help you out. We'll get you where you need to be.
A big part of this, Amy, obviously, is having your IT or network admin be involved in this process. You're gonna kind of rock their world a little bit, right? Because you're gonna say, hey, you know all those games and things that we want to like block at the filter and deny kids from accessing all day? Well, we want to open those up now at 3 o'clock after school or in this room after school, right? And so they're definitely going to be a big part of that. A couple of equipment options. Obviously, if you have those labs with those games, if you have a machine that can play the game, then you are all set to compete in the league, and you're going to be good to go. We see schools allow kids to bring in devices from home. So if a kid wants to bring in their Xbox on Wednesdays to play a certain game, obviously there's going to be some steps to get those devices on the network and registered as an approved device. Yada yada yada. We see schools go out and buy equipment, whether it's brand new or used ones at GameStop, or I've seen principals go on Facebook Marketplace and buy some used Switches or PlayStations. And so that's something to think about too. So yeah, as Rachel mentioned, it's going to be a little bit of a combination of how many kids do you have signed up, what games are you looking at doing, what is your capacity within the room that you have, right? So if you have, 15 kids that all want to play let's say they want to play Rocket League, which is typically most of them play on a PC, 3-person team. Well, do you have, 12 machines to do 4 3-person teams or not, right? And so sometimes people are able to, shuffle around some budget money to be able to say, well, these are some souped up computers that we use for credit recovery during the day, but after school, no one's use them, so esports can use it, right? And so there's some ways around that to make that work.
Awesome. We also have a partnership with the Special Olympics Unified Leagues. So, Unified, if you're familiar with it, with traditional sports as well, as when you partner Special Olympic athletes with their peers, their student partners, and they get to compete together. And we do this for esports too. It's one of my favorite things to watch. And so, what that looks like is for Mario Kart and Rocket League, we get to pair up 2 Special Olympics athletes and 2 partners, and they get to make a team, and they get to compete. And then we also do that for Rocket League, where it's 1 athlete and 1 partner. And so it's a team of 2. In middle school, just as Mario Kart, and for the high school, we offer both titles. But just a really fun way to include another group of students and get them into an after-school activity. Your students who are not your Special Olympics athletes do not need to be gamers. They do not need to be kids who are already competing in esports. They can just be students who, are friends with that Special Olympics athlete or just want to support and help out. So it's a really, really cool opportunity, and they get to, go on to championships and playoffs, and it's a really cool opportunity for your school. So if you're already involved and unified with other sports, consider adding esports as well.
And we do have a specific webinar next week. Maggie, I think it's set for Wednesday in the morning, on unified esports. Some of this will be overlap of the information that we're sharing, but otherwise, we're going to talk about the power of that. We're going to hear from some coaches who have participated in the unified esports leagues and just share some really awesome stories about how everyone benefits from that experience, both your general population, students, as well as students with special needs. So it's really cool. But just for time's sake, I'm going to skip this video. This kind of talks about that a little more just because we have that opportunity next week. So we'll move on to our next section here. Some more info and stuff on the season.
Yes. So with the Play versus platform, we try to make this as easy as possible for you to manage your teams, your leagues. We try to provide all documentation you might need. So we kind of already talked about IT, but I wanted to reiterate, get your IT folks in on the ground level as you're setting this up, because it will make it a lot easier if they are in from the get-go. So we have some supporting documentation for them so that they can understand what equipment is needed if they are going to be your point person for equipment. And then we also have documentation for what needs to be opened up at your school, what needs to be whitelisted. So we'll make sure that you have all of that. And then other things to note is we have rule books just like for any other sport. So it is important to understand these rules and share with your students as well. Really give them the ownership and make sure that they understand what the competition rule books are too. So all of those are linked, and if you go through the process of signing up and enrolling a team, you will have access to this at many different points. So we make sure that it's easy to find. And then this is just another kind of peek at what does it look like to manage a match? What does it look like to manage a team? On the Play versus platform, it walks you through it very, very easily. We're also here to help walk you through it, but you can see there on the managing matches, the Play versus platform is who creates your schedule. You do not need to find a team to compete against. It will automatically set you up against an opponent. And so you'll be there on match day to start the match. On the Play versus platform, that is also where you are communicating with the other coach and you are submitting your scores. So that's kind of the relationship of the Play versus platform. And then they're playing on whatever game they're playing, Nintendo, Mario Kart, they're playing over here, but you're reporting on Play versus. And then that roster is also where you're in charge of putting kids in their spots, just like you would for a traditional sport. You might need to swap kids out if they're sick, if they didn't make their grades. And so there's a bench option where you can swap kiddos in and out. We walk you through this. So don't be intimidated. We help you out through this. But as a coach, that is one of your expectations. Awesome. And then on actual match day, it's important to be ready to go about an hour prior to matches. Once you really get up and going, we've got some that are slick and can kind of scoot that time zone up, but you need to check in your teams so that you are ready to play at 4 o'clock. That 4 o'clock time does not mean that's when you're entering your esports lab. That is when you are playing your game. And then we also do require the coaches to be in attendance for those matches too. Just because we are dealing with teenagers and we're dealing with an online space, and in their personal time, those students might act a little bit differently than they do in a school setting. And so just making sure that everyone is being appropriate, everyone is following those rules, and that there is a point person in charge in case league officials, which we have those just like a ref, would need to step in and talk to an adult. So you do need to be there and supervising.
And I will say most issues that we have, if anytime there's an issue where somebody can't get a game in for some reason because it's usually because there's a technical issue. Somebody didn't take the time during the preseason to like test out, make sure the Nintendo Switch could get online, right? And like they're trying to kind of do it, flying by the seat of their pants, or because people did not communicate, like knowing that they had a half day coming up and students wouldn't be in the building and they wouldn't be able to participate, or like so like the best programs that get their games in and have the best experience are ones that they look at their schedule for the upcoming week. They check in with the coach early in the week, say, "Hey, coach, just looking ahead. I think we should be good for Thursday." Or, "Hey, we both get out at 2:20. Want to start our match at 3 o'clock?" "Oh, sure, great." Like all those types of things. Anytime those conversations can happen, that makes it just much more successful experience for the kids.
And this is exactly what Ryan was talking about here. That communication is done on the Play versus platform. So you've got a direct line with that other coach, and then the match results there. That's where you're going to input your match results. Both teams do that. And then the cool thing is, if there would be any sort of discrepancy, league officials through the Play versus platform can step in and help out as needed. So again, you don't need to be a gamer to be able to do this. As long as you can click on who won the game, you're gonna be just fine as an esports coach. So awesome. We've got instructions here for signing up to be a new coach. Anyone who is going to be that coach needs their own Play Versus account, and then it will automatically hook you up to your like school's homepage on the Play Versus platform. From there, it's going to prompt you to schedule a meeting with myself or one of my other colleagues that assist with Michigan schools, so we can walk you through things as well. We try to make it as easy as possible for you, but please know that we are here to support. And it's not uncommon that I'm on a video call with the coach as they're sharing their screen and I'm walking them through this process. So we're here to support you. But if you're tech savvy and you're good with it, you can fly right through and manage it on your own. It's that simple. And then another piece that Play Versus offers, this is brand new for this school year. Totally understand that this school year is underway very, very shortly. But as you're planning and thinking long term, think about adding esports into your school day and what that looks like. So we've got a couple different options here. Now, I will just preface with our competition, everything we've talked about up to this point is a free offering. If your school would decide to implement curriculum, that is a paid service. And we can talk about pricing offline and if you want to go down that route. But we have a middle school curriculum. It is a semester-long curriculum called Digital Life Skills. Now, the hook is esports. That's what gets students engaged, and that is what is going to have them show up into class and be engaged and participate. But the purpose of this middle school course is that it can be implemented anywhere. It doesn't just have to be an esports class where they're focused on gaming. This can really be used in a careers class or a digital literacy class, or with a counselor. It really can be implemented anywhere. You can see they are using those learning those life skills, but through an esports lens. So more information is linked on there, but just know that that is available if you're looking to add an esports class at your middle school level. And then if we flip over on the high school side of things, we've got 5 different high school courses that are written out. Some are a year long and some are semester long. And so these can be implemented, again, if you are looking to add an esports standalone class, this is your fully written out curriculum. It's ready to go. Any teacher can teach it. Or if you're looking to slot this into a class that you already have, we do have it aligned to those existing CTE courses. So for example, computer applications is one of our courses. It is the traditional computer applications class. However, in our curriculum, while they are learning those Google Workspace skills, the activities and the lessons are actually having students run their own esports or set up their own esports business. So that's the hook, is the esports lens. The other hook is that there is time built out in the lessons that students will, learn whatever the topic is of that day, and then they will have time to go on their game and play. But maybe their assignment is, hey, we talked about AI today, and we learned about what AI is. Go play 20 minutes of the game, and now your assignment is write a paragraph about how AI could be used to improve that game you just played. So again, it's that hook. We do see an increase in attendance when this is put, especially at first hour, because students want to be able to play the game. So if you're looking just to add some creativity into some of your existing courses, just know that this is an option. Happy to chat offline and more in detail with you, but it's a really cool new offering that we're adding this year. And then we've got my contact information here, Rachel@playversus.com. I'm happy to answer any question you have. You can set up a meeting directly with me where we can dive deep. That's what I do all day, is meet with coaches, and we go step by step on how your school is going to set this up, because every school and every district is different. So my contact information is there.
All right.
Awesome.
Oh,
Are you
sorry.
kicking that off, Meg?
Kicking off some key dates.
Let's go.
All right. So for some of our timelines here, as we kind of spoke about earlier in the presentation, our fall 2025 is coming up really, really fast. So our high school and middle school and Unified both have fall seasons, and students can play both seasons, even if you kind of want to gather the information now and kind of see who is interested, who would want to be engaged, and then hop on for a spring season. We would, of course, love to have you for both fall and spring. But both seasons include 2-week optional preseason matches, 8 weeks of regular season matches, and about 2 to 4 weeks of a postseason tournament. So that is flexible. As we get closer, we kind of see how many teams we have, who is interested in which game titles, et cetera, et cetera. And then, of course, kind of the months that we play there, September to December being the fall, February to May being our extent of our spring season.
I'm just going to point out too, within that time, especially that 8-week regular season, there is a 1-week bye that you get to identify at the beginning of the season. So that does account for a spring break, right? Or a midwinter break or something else that you might have going on. And obviously we do our best to work around holidays and things like that. So just food for thought there.
And then looking at a more kind of focus lens on the fall coming up, we do have a couple more webinars headed your way. We're obviously in our Esports 101 right now. And as we mentioned earlier, our Unified Special Olympics esports webinar is next week. I know Maggie put that information in the chat for you as well. And we will send out, again, you'll have these slides to kind of put these in your calendar. But if that is something you're interested in that as well, with setting up a team with Unified, we highly encourage you to join us next week. But preseason dates, our enrollment deadline, a coaches meeting, we definitely will look forward to seeing you all in the coaches meeting as well, if this is something you want to hop on for the fall season. We will go over some similar information, but dive a bit deeper too as well into coaches' expectations, resources that will help you throughout the season, and any questions you might have as deadline approaches, as you kind of gather your teams, you get on the platform. We will have a lot of a deeper dive conversation into the coaches meeting there. Regular season, when playoffs are, and of course our in-person championship event at Michigan State University for our high school teams, which is always a really great time. I know, as you saw in the video earlier as well, that Ryan walked us through how collective of a community that is, having an in-person event with these games. And you saw the smiles on the faces, the parents getting really into it, cheering on their teams, and the coaches. It's just a really wonderful event for connection and sportsmanship, having those in-person events. So all of those are there on the slides for you to put in your calendar. Moving forward for resources. So again, we have mentioned you don't need to be an expert in the esports world or even have known what this was before joining the webinar today. We just need you to be an awesome, supportive educator, adult, coach in the room for these kids, providing that space for them. Everything else, we have your back, we have your support from all of us and from Rachel and Playverses. So resource links, if you need to know what the heck happens when you match with another team, navigating the platform once you sign up as a coach, how to scrimmage, if you realize that you just kind of want your team to really learn the ropes of this esports world as well along with you, and you want to play a few scrimmage games before actually versing for an actual season game, there's a way for you to scrimmage other schools and get connected to them as well. If you're confused, when Rachel was talking earlier about how do I submit match results and I know who wins and who loses, but what do I click? Where do I go? We will have all of these links available for you with how to navigate those things once this gets sent out. And additional supports. They're on the platform. Once you get on the Playverses website and you set up your account, there is an awesome chat feature. So if you do find that you get your equipment set up, you find that your team matches with another team, but you have some tech issues or you have a question that we went over, that you went to all the webinars, but you're just having a moment because it's been a long school day and you're getting there's a million things going on, right? You can hop on that chat and the Playverses team does a wonderful job with getting back to you at a super timely manner. Rachel, I think you said there was like a
2 to 4 minutes.
4
So
minutes.
they are instant help. So also any question that you would ask me or email me, feel free to throw in that chat once you get your account set up. We're all one big team and we get you where you need to go. So feel free to use that as well.
Absolutely. So another thing paired with Playverses being a huge help with anything that you have question-wise with how to utilize that platform. We do have what we call our super coaches throughout the state. So these are coaches that live, eat, breathe esports, and they are available as well to kind of walk you through. Would love to answer questions, have been through it, have worked with us, and they are also great tools to have if you want to reach out to them. If any of them too are nearby in like near district or a school down the road, I think that is a wonderful tool as well, paired with our platform partners here. Just as we have kind of resource links to help you navigate the actual platform of Playverses, we also have a huge resource rulebook entire web page for you. If you are like, I only know Mario Kart and Super Smash Bros. And Pokemon, and I don't know what any of these other things are. Chess is pretty self-explanatory. But if you're like, I don't know what the heck people do for Valorant, right? And you're like, I don't know what this game's about. I don't know how to, maybe my students know about it, but I kind of want to know a little bit to support them and encourage them and cheer them on. We do have game rule books, walkthroughs, objectives of the game. Playverses does provide a lot of those as well on the platform itself once you sign up to just get familiar with the game title if that is something that you want to dive into. But again, we're not asking you to be an expert by any means, just something to familiarize if you are looking to learn more about these titles. As well as game day protocols. So again, more resource links to come once you set up your account. This whole slide deck is going out to you as well. So if you want to familiarize yourself with how to kind of go about these games when you are paired with another school, we do have resources for you to learn how that goes as well.
And I'll just say real quick that it's not hard to do, but each game is unique with when you get, as Meg said, when you get paired up, because there's just like little intricacies and rules on like, how do you agree what map to use when you race, or how do you agree to who gets to select which character first, right? Think of it more like the coin flip before a game, right? It's like some of those rules and procedures. So it is something that you will want to familiarize yourself with and have your kids. Like the most successful coaches go through this stuff with their kids or their captain, so everyone knows the rules and the procedures for getting the game set up.
And it's kind of bouncing off of Ryan there. It's kind of that sportsmanship skill set we want to implement as well with these kids and trying to support them in how to communicate with other schools and players while they're playing a match, right? So just a little, if all this sounds really good, we just kind of want to bring it home a little bit. So why is this a really cool community to join with Play Versus, with MASSP, and paired together we are MHSEL, or Michigan High School Esports League, including middle school, if you want a middle school team. But again, as you saw, we do have this virtual connective community space, which you saw that huge Michigan map and how much we've grown and how many esports teams are across the state being able to connect. So that virtual platform of connection is a huge perk, but also the fact that we support those in-person events and see the benefit of both virtual and in-person events with these, to have some community, have connection, have students kind of grow in both of those spaces. We really support both of those things. Resources and support, of course, we like to host these webinars for you. All of us are available if anybody has any questions whatsoever throughout the seasons. We are all willing to pitch in and help and kind of walk you through anything that pops up throughout spring, fall seasons, or just as you're joining players, getting paired up, walking through the platform. We're always available to help you out. We all want to see all the teams reach success and have fun with this. Our partnerships as well, you guys saw that we have the curriculum this year coming in, trying to really tie in those real life skill sets and foundations. And this is such a really cool community for students to come together and have a space, but also at the same time, this is something for them to grow in real life. These are real skills that they're learning to help them as they grow through 6 through 12 and beyond. So that is something that we also really want to support and back with the kids and coaches. Like, this is something to really tell these students, like, there's a lot here past your district schooling, right? Rachel mentioned earlier, we have college scouts come and really watch these kids and how they play and how they're invested and how they show up. And there's a lot that goes into these games and coding and game design. And there's all these things that can really play into students getting involved in a community like this. So diving into that and really supporting this community and these students getting involved. And of course, as we said, this platform, it is super user friendly, and with everything kind of being done for you, matching teams up, having a go-to space for rules, game book, everything, communication with esports and Play Versus and us, and knowing who you're playing, how to scrimmage, everything is kind of all in one spot. And we make it really easy for you to figure that out once you get signed up. And all around, we just really hope to provide an easy, fun, and supportive platform for you to create a space for your kids. And again, mentioned a bit earlier, I know when you watched the video of our spring championship at Oakland University, we offer a lot of awards here as well and some recognition, just as we would for kind of end of year in sports seasons. We have to our Coach of the Year, Player of the Year, All-State Player, and All-League Player. So as you see growth in your team, this is something to really encourage and recognize, and really tell your students and your kids, like, I see you, I recognize the growth that you're doing, and I see all the hard work that you're putting into this. And the younger students as well, if you have like a senior, this is a really great thing to kind of recognize all the work they put in. But I think this is a really cool opportunity for a lot of those younger grades to say, oh my gosh, this is a really cool thing. I want to work hard and keep growing so I can get to this position, or I can keep going in this. So this is something that you can see the looks on our past players and coach faces in those pictures up there. So you can see that this is just one of those in-person things too we really like to support and cheer on with our teams. And going along with that too, you can just see some of our coaches who have gotten involved and how much they love that they jumped into this world, seeing that they love the journey that they saw their students go on in this space. An opportunity for student populations who can often, quote, hide in the shadows. So students who have never really found a place. They don't want to necessarily play an in-person sport, or they just have loved gaming and they love this world, but there's never necessarily been a spot for them to express that and connect with other players and students who feel the same. Being a coach, building strong culture in a program, assisting students, being able to have recognition for students who normally wouldn't have that recognition of their skills and their achievement and their growth. So again, just everything that we've talked about, building that culture and having some positivity and connection, just another space for that, for a whole population of students that could really benefit. So a lot of these coaches kind of stepping in and giving us some good feedback here we wanted to share.
I think for time, Meg, we'll just let people check out these videos. I think on their own, there's a testimonial from Chris White of Novi High School, as well as a really cool, this went viral, a video of an esports match as a pep assembly at Detroit Catholic Central. It ended up having like 1 million views. ESPN reposted it on TikTok and stuff like that. So check those videos out. If you needed some more proof or evidence as to why this is an amazing opportunity.
Yep, absolutely. And again, too, if you want to dive a bit deeper into more of esports and really get that extra dose of information, there is a free online course through Michigan Virtual, and we offer 2 sketchies for that as well. So we encourage you to check that out if you want to learn even more information and dive a bit deeper into this. But something that we have been throwing around this quote for the years that we've gotten this started, and it's just kind of stuck. We like to say, no matter the results, when students compete, school culture always wins. So despite the winners of a game, who comes first, second, third place in a Mario Kart match, all that good stuff. If students are participating and they're engaged, then the entire school and the community always wins. So we want to open it up to any more questions as we kind of close out here. I know we were keeping a close eye on the chat. So if there's any last minute questions, feel free to use that Q&A or the chat feature. But again, we have Rachel, who is super awesome and really helps us out with the play versus side of all of this. And my colleagues here with Ryan and Maggie and myself, Meg, we are here to support you guys, and we're here to kind of really get you involved and engaged in starting an esports program at your school.
And again, all this will be sent to you in the next day or so. So thank you for joining us, everyone. Appreciate your time. Thanks, Rachel, for helping us out today. And hopefully we'll see you in the fall coming up here quickly. Or if not, maybe just get scrimmaging and kind of work on some behind the scenes stuff. And we have you join us this spring. So take care, everyone.